Your take on the gentleman that is the candidate for the country and the thinking behind it by the president?
You know, you have to give it to President Museveni. This is really the highest level of political chess you can ever come across. By appointing Olara Otunnu, it's a huge statement. This was a sworn enemy of the president, politically at least, and they differed significantly, but the president has agreed for him to run as Uganda's candidate at the United Nations. We can debate whether he stands a chance or not, but at a local level, it's incredible that that has happened. And knowing their history, knowing the differences they've had over time, I applaud the president for showing that magnanimity and appointing Olara Otunnu, who's been probably one of his most fierce critics over the years. And also for Olara Otunnu personally, I think it's some sort of self-actualization. You know, the man is 75 years old now. He probably stood a better chance 30 years ago, but I wouldn't rule him out completely now because his impact on the United Nations is still being felt, and he probably will clock some mileage. Let's wait and see how it goes, and we wish him the very best in this pursuit.
A deep analysis why Museveni's endorsement of Olara Otunnu is a historic political and diplomatic move. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni's decision to endorse Olara Otunnu as Uganda's candidate for the position of United Nations Secretary General is one of the most significant political and diplomatic developments in Uganda in recent years. The endorsement has surprised many observers because Olara Otunnu has spent decades as one of Museveni's most outspoken political critics. The move therefore goes far beyond ordinary politics and reflects Uganda's attempt to project national unity and international influence. A historic reconciliation. For more than 3 decades, Museveni and Otunnu represented different political visions for Uganda. Otunnu criticized the NRM government on issues including governance, democracy, and human rights. He later led the Uganda People's Congress, the UPC, a party historically opposed to Museveni's government. Despite this history, Museveni chose to support Olara Otunnu for one of the world's highest diplomatic offices. This suggests that, at least in this instant, Uganda is placing national interests above partisan politics. The endorsement sends a message that Uganda believes qualified citizens should represent the country internationally, regardless of domestic political differences. Why Ambassador Dr. Olara Otunnu? Olara Otunnu is among Uganda's most internationally respected diplomats. His credentials include former United Nations Under Secretary General, former Special Representative of the United Nations Secretary General for Children and Armed Conflict, former President of the United Nations Security Council, former President of the UNICEF Executive Board, former Uganda's permanent representative to the United Nations. Unlike many political candidates, Dr. Ambassador Olara Otunnu has spent much of his career inside the United Nations system. This gives Olara Otunnu a strong understanding of how the organization operates. Museveni reportedly described him as possessing the experience, integrity, and diplomatic skills necessary to lead the United Nations. Why this matters for Uganda? Uganda has contributed significantly to international peacekeeping mission, particularly through the Uganda People's Defense Forces, the UPDF in Somalia, and other African operations. If a Ugandan became the UN Secretary General, it would raise Uganda's international profile. It will increase Africa's diplomatic influence. It will demonstrate Uganda's ability to produce globally respected leaders. And this one will also strengthen Uganda's voice in international negotiation, although the Secretary General is expected to serve independently rather than represent a single country. The appointment would still be a major diplomatic achievement for Uganda. Now, why the endorsement is politically significant? We need to dive into this. Domestically, many Ugandans never imagined President Museveni would publicly support a long-time political opponent in the likes of Olara. The endorsement demonstrates several political calculations that you must know. Number one is statesmanship. President of the Republic of Uganda, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, may wish to be remembered as a leader who placed national interests ahead of a political rivalry. Number two, national unity. Supporting Dr. Ambassador Olara portrays Uganda as a united on major international issues. Number three, international image. The decision improves Uganda's image as a country capable of recognizing merits across political divides. Number four, diplomatic strategy. Dr. Ambassador Olara international reputation may attract broader support than a less experienced candidate. There are challenges facing Dr. Ambassador Olara, even with Uganda's endorsement. Becoming UN Secretary General remains extraordinarily difficult. The office is arguably the most competitive diplomatic position in the world. Every candidate must secure broad international support. Major powers often have competing geopolitical interests, making consensus difficult. How the UN Secretary General is selected. Allow me to give you this information. The process involves several stages, not only one. Number one of the stage is nomination. Countries nominate candidates, like Uganda has nominated Olara for the position. A government officially informs the United Nations that it is supporting a candidate, like Museveni has done, the government of Museveni has done. Uganda has now officially nominated Dr. Ambassador Olara. Now, step number two, Security Council deliberations. The 15-member UN Security Council examines all candidates. The council consists of permanent members with veto power. Let me give you the country in this. China is one of them. France is one of them. Russia is one of them. United Kingdom is one of them. And the United States of America is also one. Then the 10 non-permanent members elected for 2-year terms. Candidates participate in informal dialogues and are evaluated on leadership, diplomatic experience, independence, and global vision. Now, the step number 3, the veto. What do we mean if we talk about the veto? This is the biggest hurdle. Any of the 5 permanent members can effectively block a candidate. A candidate may receive overwhelming support, but still fail if one permanent member exercises its veto. For this reason, successful candidates usually emerge through quiet diplomatic negotiations rather than public campaigns. Number 4, Security Council's recommendations. Once consensus is achieved, the Security Council formally recommends one candidate to the UN General Assembly. Step number 5 is General Assembly appointment. The 193 members UN General Assembly then appoints the recommended candidate, although this is technically a vote. The General Assembly almost always approves the Security Council's recommendation by consensus. What qualities are considered? Let's look at the quality these people look at. While there are no formal constitutional requirements, member states generally look for this information I'm giving you: exceptional diplomatic experience. The second one, international credibility. And the third one, political neutrality. The fourth one is strong leadership. And then another one is ability to mediate conflicts. Apart from that one, understanding of global development is also one of the priorities that they look at. The next one is commitment to human rights. Apart from that one, they look at administrative competence. Now, Dr. Ambassador Olara Otunnu's long UN career gives him strength in several of these areas. The regional rotation, although not written into the UN Charter, there is an informal tradition of rotating the office among regions. Then part secretaries general have come from Europe, have come from Asia, have come from Africa also, and then they have come also from the Latin America. Now, many diplomats, they argue that regional balance should continue to guide the selection process. Could Africa produce another Secretary General? That is the question that everyone wants to know. Could Africa produce another Secretary General? Many African governments believe it is again Africa's turn to lead the organization, which may strengthen support for an African candidate such as Dr. Ambassador Olara Otunnu. Uganda's diplomatic campaign reports indicate that President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni Tibuhaburwa has tasked senior diplomats, including former Prime Minister Rukahanda Rugunda, with mobilizing international backing for Otunnu's candidacy. This campaign will involve engagements with African Union member states, the UN Security Council, major world powers, and regional bloc. Success will depend not only on Otunnu's qualification, but also on complex geopolitical negotiations. Now, final index, the final analysis that I'm giving, Museveni's endorsement for Dr. Ambassador Olara Otunnu is more than a nomination. It is a symbolic political moment that demonstrates reconciliation, strategic diplomacy, and national confidence. It shows that international leadership can sometimes transcend domestic political division. However, Otunnu's path to becoming UN Secretary General remains challenging. His extensive UN experience makes him a credible contender, but the ultimate decision depends on securing the confidence of Security Council, especially avoiding a veto from any of its 5 permanent members before winning formal appointment by the General Assembly. Whether or not Otunnu ultimately secures the office, Uganda's decision to unite behind a highly respected international diplomat has already elevated the country's profile in global diplomacy and highlighted its ambition to play a greater role on the world stage. I am Takwo Wilfred.